Hello and welcome everyone to the Data Challenge Prenatal Care in America. My name is Tracy Flood. I'm president and co-founder of the Broad Street Institute. I'm really excited to welcome you all here today. The Data Challenge is to create a portfolio project that can be shared with a key stakeholder about prenatal care in your region. We're talking about local data. The Canva path will be making an infogram in Canva using Canva's new spreadsheet feature. We'll pay close attention to the topic of prenatal care, why we chose it, and also talk about why we always are thinking about key stakeholders when we're designing data projects. Gotta think about that key stakeholder when looking at data. Let's proceed with the plan. We're going to start with an intro, and then we're going to proceed to a step-by-step before trying it. It just takes practice. It's a little bit about us. My name is Tracy Flood. I'm president and co-founder of the Broad Street Institute. I'm based just outside of Milwaukee. It is cold here right now. It is winter. All right, I've got my slug mug here too, just for good luck. Slug mug. I have 10 plus years as a community health data doc where I use data to run diagnostics on the health of America's communities. I really do believe that data skills are the key to unlocking solutions to this generation's greatest challenges and that we can all make a difference with data. Broad Street is a registered nonprofit. First and foremost, we focus on data training and supporting each other. It's a place built for learners, by learners. Data is just one of those things that's a lifelong skill, and we're always learning how to try to make a difference with data. We're not affiliated with any of the tools we'll be using today, but if Canva ever wants to sponsor us, we would welcome that. Here at Broad Street, we believe that data heal the world. We believe that data is a catalyst for important conversations and creates a bridge to shared solutions. And of course, when we say data heal the world, what we mean are data people heal the world. They become that voice sitting around the table, taking a little bit of an extra perspective on any challenge that we might be facing. And we think that perspective is incredibly valuable. Our big picture goal, our vision as we move forward is that if we share sources of local data, it will help to catalyze community action and maybe have a cascading effect to more evidence-based policies, programs. So building in all of the things that we've learned about how to promote health so that we can have a healthier nation for all. All right, ground rules: spread hope, share solutions. We know that even though it's cold outside, the political temperature is rising. We understand that. We try to harness our passion for public health through spreading hope and sharing solutions. We find that a positive view of what we can do ourselves, the actions that we can take right now, is really the way to empower ourselves and to prevent things like feelings of overwhelm or burnout. So please join us as we spread hope and share solutions with our actions and our messages. I want to address a very common feeling with data, and especially if you're new to some of these data tools. Please know that there's something about data that is very intimidating. I've been there. I did not start my career in data. I started my career in medicine, and I came to data after that. There's definitely always a little bit of imposter syndrome when it comes to trying new data tools and to learning about new data sources. And data people are always have that feeling of we're never quite the experts. We're always asking questions of experts, and we're learning about how people use the data with boots on the ground. And that feeling of being an outsider actually can get to a person. I will say that. And that imposter syndrome, I think, can be reframed as humility. And I think it can be reframed in a way where we ask lots of questions. And it can be reframed in a way where we join communities like this to tinker and try and to troubleshoot and to learn new things. Data are a lifelong skill, and all the data tools as well. But please know that if you're feeling a little bit nervous, or if you're feeling like you have imposter syndrome around data, I've been there. And I think a lot of people have too. I got over my imposter syndrome when I realized the world needed data people, whether or not I felt ready. We just had to go for it. So I wanted to share that because it's a very real feeling. And I think as data people, we always feel a little bit like we're learning always. Let's start. Data challenge. What is a Broad Street data challenge? A little bit about prenatal care and a little bit about why we talk about key stakeholders. All of the Broad Street data challenges cover a public health topic, are designed to take 20 minutes, at least on the walkthrough, and use free data tools. They involve a data hunt, they involve practicing data tools, and they involve making a project for a key stakeholder. Key stakeholder. What does that mean? It means one person who will look at the data, and if data are shared in a way that makes sense to them, this person can take action. We really believe in data for making impact. It doesn't work just chucking data in any format at somebody if that's not how they process information. So understanding that if we're talking to the governor might be interested in the entire state, might be interested in what they can do. So each person, each key stakeholder has a thing that they're wanting to know in order to tell if they should prioritize a public health topic. So getting into the head of that key stakeholder is really an important part of the data design and portfolio project process. This is what we call human-centered design first data. Our data challenge is to create a shareable portfolio project about prenatal care in your region designed for a key stakeholder. The data hunt today, we're going to be looking at HRSA's maternal and infant health mapping tool. We're going to be looking at different data tools as well before making a project for a key stakeholder in our step-by-step walkthroughs. Learning objectives. By the end of the data challenge, everyone will have found local data on your region or a region of interest. We'll be practicing using data tools. Data skills are kind of like musical instruments. The only way to learn is to practice. We'll be practicing those, getting some hands-on experience, and then creating a portfolio project designed to be shared with a key stakeholder. Of course, the bonus objective is also to connect. This is a small world, and those who love promoting health and love working with data can really get to know each other through live events like this one. If you're watching the recording, feel free to make a comment and say hi. We've got everything that we need. We've got you. We don't need any money. We're using free tools only, free data sources, free data tools, and a portfolio project with tutorials already prepped, which is awesome. Here's why we want to focus on prenatal care. We chose the topic of prenatal care because it impacts community health. It's an important community health topic. Improvement is possible. This is something we know how to improve. Evidence-based solutions exist, but it might not be happening everywhere. Pregnancies should be free from fear, and up to half of pregnancy-related deaths could be prevented with recommended prenatal care, especially early prenatal care. The social ecological model means that if somebody is not getting early prenatal care, there's a lot of things at play, including policies, including community and environment, the clinical care environment, interpersonal relationships, and individual beliefs as well. So it's a very complex issue with no one cause. If somebody is not getting prenatal care, we never shame or blame with data. These are complex issues and part of a larger model. We're not the only ones that feel this way. The county health rankings and roadmaps out of the University of Wisconsin definitely lists prenatal care under clinical care and is considered a social determinant of health. If we talk about upstream and downstream indicators, I sometimes think of upstream and then cascading effects downstream. Prenatal care has both upstream determinants and also downstream health outcomes. So prenatal care is really pivotal and is at the crux of health and pregnancy. So downstream prenatal care is associated with reductions in morbidity and mortality, as well as infant mortality. And upstream, there are things that impact whether or not somebody gets prenatal care, clinical care access. Is there something nearby? Is it affordable? Do you have health insurance? And whether or not you have health insurance might depend on affordability and policies in the state. So hopefully you can see that a lot of different factors come to play in the central indicator of prenatal care. That's my intro to what is a Broad Street Data Challenge, a little bit about prenatal care, and a little bit about why we talk about key stakeholders. Now let's proceed to part two, step two of the plan, is step by step. The Canva path, we'll be making an infogram in Canva using Canva's new spreadsheet feature. We call an infogram an infographic that we share on Instagram. Welcome to the Canva breakout room, where we're going to learn about a new feature in Canva called Canva Sheets. Canva Sheets. Have you ever used Canva Sheets before? Canva Sheets, it's new. I'm not going to lie. I was one of those people that I was like, Canva's not serious enough, but Canva is becoming awesome. It has built in AI tools. It has this amazing Canva Sheets feature. Canva is becoming very, very serious. What we're going to do, I'm going to screen share Canva Sheets. I will share a link with you for Canva Sheets. I'll do a little bit of a tour of how to view Canva Sheets. There's a bit of a trick. I'm going to show you some advanced features, why it's worth learning. Having said that, though, some of the advanced features require pro login. If you're part of a nonprofit or maybe even a school, you can get a pro account for free. Canva is very generous about that because it's a pro feature. The thing that we're going to be making today will be done manually. We will not be using the bulk feature, but I will show you how to use the bulk feature. Yeah. And then it won't block anyone who doesn't have a pro account. So you'll be able to test it yourself. Does that sound like a deal? All right, let's dive in. This is a Canva sheet. It doesn't have to be this big. It can be itsy bitsy, but essentially it kind of looks like a spreadsheet, right? The rest of Canva is pretty much the same. You've got your navigation here. You've got your view down here with the different pages. The way this is a little bit different is because you might be used to this view here, grid view, or even not in the pages view, but in this like scrolly view. Okay, so people might be familiar with this view. Canva has a new feature where you can change the different pages. So the different pages are different sizes, and that requires this pages view down here. So a little bit of tinkering to make sure that the screen is set up well. So this is Canva Sheets, and Canva Sheets has a few really amazing built-in features. So we are going to be entering data in by hand today using HRSA's maternal and infant health mapping tool to find out local percents of early prenatal care by county. This is all we actually need to input, and then Canva does the rest. We've got formulas here. We've got if-then statements. We've got concatenate formulas here. We've got concatenate formulas in if-then statements. So it has a lot of the robust features and functionality of formulas that you would see in a regular spreadsheet program, with the addition of a few superpowered magical things. One of the most amazing features I think it has is the ability to do bulk create. If you notice, this has a little crown next to it, which means it's a pro feature. People affiliated with a nonprofit can get free pro accounts, I believe. The bulk create feature is incredibly powerful. By highlighting the data, and I can use this design and I can link different design elements to the data. I've actually already set up the spreadsheet to optimize this connection. Then I can create two designs, beep, boop, beep, boo, and it actually creates them in a separate folder. Now you can see that I've actually created copies of this specifically for my community. It's an incredibly powerful feature. You can literally make an infographic for every single county in your state within just a single click. So remember, this is the pro feature that we will not be doing today. We'll be doing this process manually, but you can see how these formulas with just a little bit of data can help us set up a bulk create for an infogram. We're going to actually start out doing this process manually so we know how to set up the spreadsheet so it can be optimized for this process. Let's start. Here's the design I'm going to be entering my data into. So this is designed in portrait format for Instagram Reels, for instance, if I made it into a video or Instagram stories. This has a slightly different layout than the 3x5 layout here. But in any case, this is what I've chosen. You can find a whole bunch of pre-made ones. You can delete all of these gray pictures and start your own. You can see that a few of our team members have taken a swing at their own designs, and you can do the same. Tracy Flood. I'm going to do Milwaukee County once more. Milwaukee. All I need to do is find the percent of Milwaukee with the early prenatal care. For this, I actually am going to be using the maternal and infant health mapping tool by HRSA. Now, not everyone has used this tool before, but it is amazing. It was one of the tools that went down in the data purge and was one of the last to return. So we really want to treasure this and appreciate how many indicators are in here. All right, let's do a little bit of a tour of this data source. So we have this left-hand navigation, which is an accordion menu, and opening up the accordion reveals all of the different data that are already preloaded into this map. It comes from a lot of different sources. It comes from CDC Wonder, birth records. It comes from Census Bureau's American Community Survey. They've gathered it from all different places and put it into a single map, which is very, very cool. You've also going to notice that the same indicator list accordion file is also up here. You can really click on either. So I could do health indicators and it'll just show me that. You just do that. Or you could do all layers and then open up the accordion. Now, how to use this, it's actually very, very simple. We're going to open up health indicators and then go to prenatal care in the first trimester. I'm going to have the option of a few different years. I can choose 2020 to 2022. It is common for publicly available data to be slightly time delayed. That's not unusual because this is a community-wide measure. The chances of it changing dramatically year to year is fairly low, but you can see once I've applied it, I can see it here in the map. Oh yeah, I can edit the layer appearance. All right, I can actually change the color too. That's not that important, but it is a cool feature that they have. All right, so this is nice. I really want to find Milwaukee. So one thing that you're going to notice is that as I selected the indicator, then it also opened up a tab down here. This tab down here is our data tab, and you only get a little glimpse of the data, just a little glimpse, boop, 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 before the screen cuts off. Here's what I would do. I would choose Excel, and then I'd export it to Excel. If you want all of the data for the entire United States, if you only want one state, you can actually use this filter feature here, and then I can look and it would be just Wisconsin. Now, I actually want just Milwaukee. So I'm going to click here under multiple counties. The filter pops up above, and I'm going to select Milwaukee County. All right, now I can see prenatal care in Milwaukee County. This is those who have received early prenatal care. This is the percent of live births where prenatal care was initiated in the first trimester, 78.2. And there is a state benchmark here preloaded for comparison. All right, I can see that Milwaukee is a large metro area. 78.2 is the number I'm going to have to remember. So I can navigate back to here and put in 78.2. All right, all I did was type in 78.2, and you can see that it interpreted that as 7,000%. This has been pre-formatted as a percent, so let me just adjust that, 0.782, and that should format it well. Now I'm going to manually select that this is high compared to the US benchmark highlighted here. And select high. And then here we go to pre-calculate. The human mind always looks to the negative. I'm sorry to say that is our bias in the human condition. So typically when we share information, it is usually in the negative. So if this is a percent with early prenatal care, then 100 minus this is the percent without first trimester prenatal care. So I'm flipping it in order to be effective at communicating with our key stakeholder. If I share this on Instagram, our key stakeholder are those who follow me on Instagram, might be very interested in public health initiatives and might know that prenatal care is important. But that's the percent that have not gotten early prenatal care. That's a little bit also not perfectly optimized for an audience that would be on social media trying to consume information quickly. So if we're trying to optimize this for our key stakeholders who are scrolling on their phone, probably I want something that's a little bit more straightforward, like 1 in 5 babies born in Milwaukee County did not receive early prenatal care. So basically what I've done is I've turned that percent into a fraction using all these fun formulas. We've then created a concatenate formula for that. Now, all of this is possible within Canva sheets. You can create this for yourself, but please feel free to use this sheet as you go into your breakout rooms. But yeah, this is very, very powerful. Very powerful indeed. Give it a try, because honestly, the best way to learn something new is to practice.